with HVAC TV. I'm here live in my hometown of Marshall, North Carolina, and jumping on a live show. So here's a little bit after the flood, what's happening here. We're here at a house on Rollins Road. So if you don't know, Marshall, North Carolina was one of the towns that was incredibly hit by this recent hurricane and the flash flood. So this town is right on the French Broad River right here, okay? I'll give you a pan of that. The town is 650-ish people, okay? Marshall, North Carolina, 650 people. The whole city of downtown is down that way about a mile. We've done a bunch of YouTube videos on there. You can go check those out. This road here is called Rollins Road. And there's some amazing volunteers. Where are they at? There they are. My daughter and her friends from church, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
This is how it gets done right here, is local community helping each other. We are blessed to live in a community that, there's a lot of folks who know each other. It's a small community and we're all helping out. And I can tell you, my lesson during this whole thing is be prepared for these kind of things and don't be waiting on the cavalry to come in and clean your stuff up and rescue you. There is no cavalry, okay? Other than the support from others around the country, which has been amazing. But there's no government infrastructures are just not set up to handle these big disasters on a local level. And nor I don't think should they be, because the cost would be enormous. But anyway, I'm just preaching what we are experiencing here. This particular road is called Rollins Road. These people are very low lying, so these houses were almost completely submerged. I'll walk around here and give you a little tour while I'm talking. But what you're seeing here is actually, it looks good compared to a few days ago. It was a terrible mess. And, a lot of folks are asking us how they can help. The best way to help, if you don't want to come here, is to donate to a local charity or some kind of North Carolina or South Carolina based charity. And I can tell you it's making a huge difference. We've got tons of supplies rolling in here, tons of people to help. If you want to come here and help, you can get on websites and there's all kinds of ways to volunteer to come here. I will warn you, if you're going to come here to help and you don't like getting dirty, don't come. If you're like me and you like your idea of camping is at the Hilton or the Marriott, then you don't want to be here. Of course, I'm helping out because it's my neighbors and I'm glad to do it. But, know what you're getting into before you come down here. There's a lot of, warnings about bacteria and stuff like that because of the flood. So just be prepared if you're going to come down here physically as to what you're getting into. And don't come if you don't have a place to stay and enough gas and water and food with you on your vehicle, etc. So that's some cautions there. I can tell you whatever folks are doing is making a big difference. I'm actually going to walk around here and do a little tour. So if you're just joining us, this Facebook Live, we're in Marshall, North Carolina, right on the banks of the French Broad River. And we're doing some, hurricane, technically it's floodwater remediation. We've had all these floods come through. These houses here were completely underwater. This house, not completely, but very close. And the first step when you have these disasters is to kind of, establish communication. Once this flood subsides, you got to establish communication. You got to get in there and get the stuff that is important to you, get that out of the house. And you got to get in there and get the trash, get that out of the house. People come pick it up. The local government will come pick it up. And then you've got to get, the carpet out and let it dry out. Some of these homes, they're probably just going to go away. They're probably just going to get bulldozed because of the amount of devastation. And I don't know that you can even ever rebuild some of these because they're in such bad shape. But, there's a car. I'm going to show you this. This is one of the tributaries or creeks that leads to the river. Okay. So you got this creek. This is like a typical mountain runoff creek. It comes from up the hill. It flows into the river, which is right here. Okay. And if you're on one of these creeks, you were flooded too. You were hit hard too. And there's actually you can see there's a truck right here. I hope you can see that. But this whole area, can you see that? Yeah, it's on there. So this whole area was completely underwater, and I'll walk down here. This is Rollins Road, and you can see how it's right on the riverbank. And we're a few miles, let's see, to the east of the town, the historic town of Marshall, North Carolina, which was just completely, we've done a few videos on here on the YouTube channel, and you could see the devastation that's been done there. And, you know, here's a little bit of the houses, what's been going on. You can see my family has been truly blessed because we live a couple mountains up the hill, so we were not hit by the floods. We lost power for a couple days, but you know, I was upset about that until I saw the people who had real damage and real problems, and I'm like, oh, we were truly blessed. So we had a little generator we finally got running. We had power. We even had internet for most of the time, which is a huge help. I will tell you, if you're, you know, thinking about getting prepared for something like this, a few tips that we've learned is make sure to here's something people don't think about. When the power goes out and the phones go out and the internet goes out, you've got no communication. So make sure you get some sort of, you know, a lot of folks don't even have an AM FM radio anymore. So what we had bought about 10 years ago was a shortwave radio by a company called Sea Crane, and you can get those on Amazon. I call it an emergency radio. It's got AM, FM, and it's got shortwave. They're not that expensive. I think it was like $79. And we've used that for 10 years during emergencies. So the reason the shortwave is important is because like what happened here, the local stations that would normally broadcast the emergency information, they didn't have power. So there was no FM radio station broadcasting. So what the shortwave does is it gives you the ability to get a signal from states away. Like we could pick up stations from New York and we could pick up stations from Florida. And it's just a small little, not much bigger than your iPhone. And it has a big antenna, which is like, I don't know, it's not that big, maybe 2 feet. Those are a tremendous help. And I can tell you, when you're sitting around and you don't know what's going on, just to have that on in the background with the updates and everything is extremely comforting and very important. The other thing we had was a ham radio that we have. It's a handheld two-way communication that can travel through repeaters, you know, through states and states and states. So you can, it's a two-way communication. So not only can you get the news, but you can get, you know, communication outside if you need to. If you need to get communication from another part of the world, you can do that. So those aren't very expensive either. I can't remember what we paid for that. The other thing is a generator. Make sure you have a generator. We have a generator, but I've been terrible at keeping it up. So I hadn't started in a while. I left the gas in there with ethanol. I did all the things wrong, you know. So it took us 2 days to get some clean gas and to get it started and clean the carburetor. And then the next day the power came on. So we have a new plan for the generator. I got a new area I'm going to put it, and I'm going to keep it nice and clean, keep fresh gas in it. And that's the way to do that for sure. So if you have a generator, make sure you keep up with it, otherwise it's useless. Other things we've learned, you know, a chainsaw is extremely important. We actually have a chainsaw we bought a year ago. I have been good at keeping up with that. That's another thing that requires continuous maintenance and using so that you don't lose it, or it's available when you need it, I should say. Yeah, there's a camper behind this house over here. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty far away, but it's right there. So a chainsaw is extremely important. And let's see here. We actually put that in the truck the minute this thing happened because there's trees down everywhere, as you can see, you know, on the bank of the river here. And you can see how the water just totally just knocked these trees over. I'm trying to see a water line. I'm saying it's about a third of the way up those trees or something. I'll find one on a house here and I'll show you. But so generator, make sure you have water, clean water. My wife is actually a prepper, so a lot of credit goes to her for being prepared. She had clean water. We had like 20 gallons of it in those big water bottle jugs that you would use to fill up like a water cooler at work. And then we had a whole pantry of food, and we have recently got a gas stove. So that was really nice because we could have whatever we wanted cooked and heated up, you know, without having to have a generator on or anything like that. So that was extremely useful. So, you know, if you're just watching this, we're live streaming from an area of Marshall, North Carolina, which was hit really bad with the flood. This happens to be my hometown. So my name is Tony Mormino, and I run the HVAC TV channel. But we're using these channels to get the word out. We've had tremendous support and engagement on social, and we greatly appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind sharing this video with someone who might be interested, that would be great. If someone's looking how to volunteer and help, share this video so they can see like what they're getting into. And, you know, if you're going to come here, just be prepared to get dirty. You know, that's what I would say. And so what was I talking about before? So we were talking about, so you can see the dirt, you know, the biggest thing with the, you know, when the water leaves, there's two things that are really bad. One is it leaves a lot of mud that's nasty and dangerous. And it also leaves everything sopping wet. So unless you have access to a dehumidifier and a ton of fuel to run it, generator to run it, you're really not going to get these buildings drowned out anytime soon. So, you know, that's the other thing too, is a lot of these folks, they don't have access to that, especially in this area. So, and there's a view of this particular road. And we're not far from downtown Marshall, which is a historic area and tons of historic buildings. And that was hit really, really hard. So I put my mask on because when these cars go by, they kick up a lot of this dust. And I'm sure it's fine. I don't know, but better safe than sorry. I haven't been wearing my mask very much so. So yeah, Marshall, North Carolina. So if you want to donate, you know, money or goods, there's tons of websites. Find something that's local to the Carolinas. That probably would be your best bet. Maybe I'll drop it in the description here if I have a minute, but hey, babe.
Is this Kay down there?
I'm live on YouTube. So.
Kay.
This is my wife, Stephanie. She's a harder worker than me. I'm doing the video. She's working.
Not today. I'm drained today.
We are tired. That's good. Another thing to have, too, in these emergencies, don't forget about a good, I'm trying to show my wife's boots and my boots. Don't forget about a good pair of work shoes. A lot of folks don't have. They have, like, sneakers for their workouts and they have dress shoes for work, which is what I had for years. I've gotten in the habit of buying boots every once in a while, like work boots, and you know, you can get something like this. They're not insanely expensive, but anything is way better than a pair of sneakers and something like this. Or you can get some classic rubber boots, like the girl throwing the thing there. That's my daughter Madeline. My kids have been just amazing at helping out. You know, those kind of boots help out a ton too. So I'll kind of walk over here, see if I can go down this bridge area without losing. This is a railroad track here. So food, water, generator, communications, radio. We're actually getting a Starlink sent to us from Insight Partners, the company I work for. Thank you, Insight Partners. And, you know, all the help they've given us here locally as a family and you know, to our office. And we did lose, I didn't mention this, but we did lose our office. So the Insight Partners office in Marshall, North Carolina, which we refer to as our Asheville office, is pretty much gone. I'm going to lose signal here, so I'm going to get back to where I was. And I appreciate everybody who's watching here. So our office is pretty much gone. We were kind of warned about the flood beforehand, but we were like, we might get a few inches of water in the office. We'll move some stuff up. So we took the real expensive, small, portable stuff, like the cameras and computers, but everything else we just lifted up on the desk. We have these desks that go up. We put them on there, and then we put them on, you know, shelves and everything, but it all got ruined. Everything, it was like a washing machine in our office for 2 days, 48 hours of water flowing through there. So it got completely decimated. We've done some videos on the YouTube channel on that too, if you want to see it. But the historic downtown in this area here, so you can see this is like, we're here as a church group to try and help this family here who's a friend of the church. And I can tell you, being plugged into your community is extremely important too. You know, I haven't always been plugged in. I'm more of an introvert. Thank God my wife is not. So we're always plugged in with wherever we go. And that's super important too when you have these emergencies, because like I said, the local government's just, you know, they get overwhelmed. They're not designed. We have a couple of police officers here and a small fire station, but they can't handle this kind of thing, nor should they have to. You know, they can't be set up to do that. And I'm looking at this flagpole right here. You know, got bent. So you just give you an idea of the water. And I'm trying to get a good picture of the water line. Let me walk down here. One of the things I've learned too, you got to be a little careful when you go out recording this stuff, because there's a lot of emotions going on. A lot of people are scared, they're sad, they're devastated, and I understand it. You know, like I said earlier, we're blessed. We didn't have a lot of damage to our home, but a lot of these folks have lost everything. And you know, some of them don't have anywhere to go. A lot of them are just living here. They're still living here. So I'm going to walk down here, see if we keep this signal. Hey, ladies. Hey, Christian.
Hey, Tony, how are you, brother?
Doing good. So we see these power lines here. You know, they're not energized, but I want to test it. I don't want to be the guy who's near them when someone accidentally turns the power back on, so I'm going to stay away from those. You know, you can see some more, you know, some more trailers here. Manufactured homes, I should say. And again, real low on the river. The river's right there. I mean, there were houses in downtown that are way up high. Like our church down there is up really high, and it's still got water in it. So, so this gentleman is helping them clear that out. And there's just a bunch of debris. And, you know, this looks 1,000 times better than it did. Whoa, see this power line right here? I'm about to run right into that. Again, I don't think they're on, but I don't want to go anywhere near those. But this looks 1,000 times better than it did just a few days ago. So, yeah, so we're using these social media tools. I'm the host of this channel, which is HVAC TV, and we're a commercial HVAC company rep firm. And, you know, we have a whole bunch of operating companies under our, you know, that are along with us under the umbrella of a company called Air Control Concepts. And, you know, I'm grateful my company's all in on using these tools to get the word out, because we are shocked how many people are seeing these videos and responding. We have people responding from Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, New York, be like, wow, we had no idea the devastation was that bad. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too, is like, if you have a local emergency, get on your channels, hit the live button, or just record and post it. If you can get a live signal, like I'm really shocked. I think we have 41 people right now, and I'm sure thousands of people will see this, but I'm really shocked at the ability to use these tools to get the word out. And I'm kind of surprised we have a signal right here, to be honest with you. It's the first cell signal I've had since the thing. So I guess that's a sign to get on here and do some live stuff. So yeah, Marshall, North Carolina. And again, we were one of many, many cities that are devastated. You know, we were downtown yesterday. It's totally filled with mud. You know, there's all kinds of machinery down there. We'll do some more videos from there later. We've done a ton of videos from there. But I wanted to do this video to show kind of like the realities of what people are dealing with here. This couple, the husband is 80, and I don't know how old the wife is. He cannot walk, you know, so they can't go anywhere, you know, so they're basically trapped. And this is another good example of why, you know, it sounds like I'm preaching to the audience, but I'm preaching to myself, because we weren't prepared as much as we should have been either. So this is another good reminder to me that, you know, it's important to stay prepared. And just by having just a few things like candles and lanterns, my wife had some of those were an enormous help, like over the flashlights, and all that stuff's pretty inexpensive to get. So get yourself a bin, put emergency on it, get your AM/FM radio, don't put batteries in it, get a shortwave if you can, get a ham radio, get some candles. If you got some oil lanterns, you can get some oil lamps. Make sure you have oil, make sure you have wicks for them. We happened to find a roll of wick that we didn't know we had. Batteries, you know, are important. Food, obviously, is important. Clean water, things like that. We actually we thought the power was going to be out for a couple of weeks. It only ended up being out for a couple of days for us, but we actually resorted to going to one of these mountain creeks, not the main river. Like, you don't want to pull water out of this river right now because it's been flooded. There's been sewage busts, waste pipes going into that. But on the mountain runoff streams, like if you go up here and you find a stream that's coming down, especially if it's fed by a spring, you can use that water for all sorts of stuff. You could even drink it and cook with it if you boil it first. But you could use that for your laundry. You could use that for cleaning things around the house, your shoes. You know, your shoes I've cleaned these shoes 15 times in the last week, and, you know. So, yeah, using these tools to get the message out. Let's see, what else can we talk about? So if you're looking to donate, if you're just tuning in here, Marshall, North Carolina was hit hard, but there's so many cities that are hit hard. And actually, we've been pretty well provisioned here as a small town. We've got volunteers coming out of the woodwork here to help us, and we greatly appreciate it. I don't think there's a lot of people in our area, this small area, that does not have access to food and water. At least I hope there's not. But there are a lot in North and South Carolina. So I don't want to say that and people think, oh, they're out of it now. We are not out of this thing as a state or as a city or as a, as South Carolina. Even Eastern Tennessee was hit pretty hard too. So if just because you don't see it on the national news, don't think there's not a lot of suffering still going on here. And I'm honored that I'm able to get on here as a person who came out of this pretty darn blessed and share this message and hopefully get to some people. We know a lot of people have been watching these. And again, if you're watching this, please share it with somebody who might be interested to help get the word out, keep the donations coming. If you want to come and help, that's great. Be ready to get very dirty. And if you're a germaphobe and your idea of camping is at the Hilton or the Marriott, you probably don't want to volunteer in the way of coming here. But there are other ways to volunteer. You can get online. They probably need phone volunteers. They probably need people who can help get the word out with the marketing. They need people who can, help coordinate, food coming in here on trailers, etc., the power companies, things like that. So there's all kinds of ways to volunteer. And, those are all helpful. There's a gas can sitting there. That's from a boat. But this is one of the tributaries. I'll show this car again if you're new on here and didn't see it. But, this pile of debris here, there's thousands of them everywhere. It's like everywhere you look, it's all this debris. Power lines down. And I feel like one of those guys on the Weather Channel, like over exaggerating, but it is really devastating to see, what's happened to this community and to many others around North Carolina. I'll just walk around here, see if I can get a few more shots. I don't want to get too far away from the home base here. I'm not sure how the cell phone signal will wrap up, but maybe I'll get another shot of the river here. So French Broad River. Down there is the downtown area of Marshall, North Carolina. Hey, how y'all doing? There's the cleanup crew right there. I'll give you Dusty's home number if you need him. Be right there. That's our pastor, Dusty. He's a great guy. Our church has been amazing, organizing and trying to help others. And even though their church is damaged, they're like, let's go help some people. So I think that's very admirable. So French Broad River, if you go down here, you will see the city of downtown historic Marshall. And you could look that up on YouTube. We can look it up anywhere and see the photos of how beautiful it was and then look at what's happened to it now. Upstream the river here is is Asheville, North Carolina. So Asheville's that way. Our little town of Marshall it's literally right around this corner here. And you can see this area is just like right on the river here. So where I'm standing right now was underwater for sure. And I'll just walk around here, see if I can capture a little more of the mayhem. I don't know if that's the right word or not. I'm used to doing YouTube videos on HVAC topics, so this is new for me, but I'll tell you, I'm blessed that we have these tools. We've had so many people reach out to us and other people in Marshall saying, hey man, they saw the videos we're doing. And I say we because it's not just me, like our whole community has been really good about, we had a Starlink hooked up in downtown Marshall and someone just posted, hey, if you want to hook up to the Starlink, go ahead. And we did a live from there, which was 45 minutes, and it generated tons of engagement and tons of questions of how people can help. And here's some more down. Oh no, those aren't power lines. That's just, I don't know, that might be power. No, that looks like just some PEX, some plastic tubing. I don't know. There's a name for it that I can't remember, but that's what that is. So, yeah, so that way is Asheville. And let me see if I can get some videos of some of these homes. Again, you got to be a little careful when you're walking through here with the camera because people are a little sensitive, obviously. And I'm not criticizing. I didn't lose my home. We were truly blessed, but there's a lot of people who have lost everything. So I'll just keep my distance and do one of these numbers. This particular area is called Rollins Road, and it's a very low-lying road right before you get to Marshall, North Carolina. And by the way, I appreciate all the comments. I don't have my prescription glasses on because I can barely see my phone. So I appreciate you. Usually I'm trying to engage with the comments and asking questions. So if you're asking questions and I'm not responding, that's why. I literally cannot see. I can see there's something there, but I can't see what they're saying. And hello? Y'all all right? Fun, huh? There's another car up against the tree. And, it's funny. I would have saw that, a week ago. That would have been a big deal. Now it's just like, no, another car. And there's campers everywhere. There's campers that floated away everywhere. There may have been homes here or something here. There was a lot of like portable cabins here, but they're all gone. Here's some more. This poor home here is, a lot of stuff like this, I'm assuming, it's probably not going to survive, unfortunately. There's another car. I appreciate y'all watching. If you know somebody's interested in seeing, like, we've gotten a lot of comments about, just these kind of walkthroughs on the phone. I think they tell a better story than, a scripted like news program. That's kind of why we do them. We just want people to know what's going on around here. And yeah, I mean, just look at this. It's just nonstop. Again, this is Rollins Road. We're right outside of Marshall, North Carolina. I should have brought my selfie stick, but poor me, right? Poor me, all my problems. Again, we are truly blessed as a family. We came through it. First and foremost, no one got hurt. That's the first thing. And then, all this stuff got washed away. We did lose our office. The Insight Partners office is gone in Marshall. It is on a building that's on a river, kind of like this. I'll show you. It's a big 3-story building called the Capitola Mill, and our office is on the first floor. And we knew there was waters coming. That might be a problem, but we never thought it would be this bad. So we got, we took the first 6 inches, it took all the stuff off the floor that was valuable. And yeah, we didn't do enough. Like 90% of the other people here, no one thought it would be this bad. Another just giant tree uprooted. It's just like it's everywhere. Yeah, I wish I could see the comments. Watch out for down power lines. Ooh, I can see some. Yeah, great point. I almost ran into one a minute ago. Here's another one here. At least I think that's a power line. Thanks for that warning. And, I was telling my kids, don't go near there's like the power's off. I said, but you never know. Like you never, ever know, right? So good message. Stay away from the power lines. Thanks for the Greg, I think said our coverage is good. So yeah, it's funny. I had several comments saying, "Oh, you're doing a great job covering the local news," and I feel like, what a blessing that is to be told that. I definitely don't consider myself a newsman, but we just turning the camera on and kind of showing what's going on. Here's another home that's, not doing well. A lot of people down here. We'll walk down here a little bit more. Here's some more down power lines. But again, we are lucky. We got power at our cabin. A lot of these people don't. There's still no food. Excuse me. In this area, we do have some stores open. My wife actually brought food home from a restaurant. So there are some areas, what I meant to say, that don't have access to food and water, and it has to be brought in. So please don't, if you're considering donating to one of the organizations, don't think it's over because you don't see it on the national news. It's far from over. It'll be a couple years before all this gets straightened out. So just pan real quick here. I'm going to turn back here because, there's kids over here and families, and, if I was just lost everything and my kids were playing and you're out here recording them, I might have some words for you. So I'm gonna respect everybody's kind of privacy. I've learned that lesson the hard way over the last day. I had was taking pictures of something, I probably was invading somebody's privacy, and they had some words about it. So I totally respected that, and I deleted them. So, and apologized profusely, because it didn't really even occur to me, like, the folks that are going through this are under, well, you could just imagine, right? Like, imagine losing everything, and, you know, some folks are already not happy with their life, and then they lose everything, and they're like, oh, this is great. So anyway, that's my own personal experience with going through this thing. And the other thing I've experienced too, and I've been kind of trying to get this message out, is please make sure you're prepared. We were pretty well prepared. We did good. All credit to my wife. She's a prepper. I'm like, nothing will happen. You know, I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. Right. So thank God for my wife. She got us, you know, we were 90% of where we would like to be if we had a magic wand. So the few things we've learned, you know, food, no brainer, water, a little harder to store, but get you those big, you know, those big 5-gallon jugs that you put in the water cooler at work. Get like 4 or 5 of those. They're sealed real well. Ours had like a wax seal on top. They're not very expensive, and just keep them in your pantry, you know, or keep them in your basement, or keep them wherever, just to have them there. Because I tell you, when the power goes out and the water stuff's coming, you go through whatever water you got in your house pretty quick if you don't have something like that. The other thing you're going to want is water that you can use for general cleaning. Like if you wanted to clean laundry in a bucket, or clean off your shoes that are muddy, you know, you want to have like we had a big rain barrel that we filled up too late. We filled it up after the fact, after the power came back on. But that would be something like, you know, you definitely want to have on hand. We actually ended up going to the river with a rigged up pump. How y'all doing? With a rigged up pump, and you know, filled up a 50-gallon trash can with the water, and that was a huge help for us. Not something we had planned on doing, but we thought the power was going to be out for a couple weeks, so we did that. The communications are extremely important. Oh, the other thing I didn't talk about, I don't think, was gas. So we have a generator. We have a small 3,000 watt inverter generator. And if you don't know about generators, inverter generators are really nice because they only produce the power. They produce the power based on the wattage that you're pulling from it. So some generators, you turn them on and they just produce all the wattage the whole time. The problem with that is it uses a lot of gas, plus they're very loud, which is, you know, doesn't sound like a big thing, but when you're running that thing a lot, it could get annoying. So inverter generators are good. They do cost a little bit more money, but if you want to invest in something like that, those are good. And make sure you have enough fuel. You know, we normally keep 20 gallons, but what happens with fuel is you don't want to keep it too long. So you want to continuously recycle it. So we were in the middle of, I'm like, all right, let's burn through this gas. Let's put it in the cars, and then we'll go get fresh gas and make up for that. But we were in the middle of that process, so we didn't have the fresh gas, and we were low on our, how you doing, man? So we were in the middle of that, so we kind of messed that up. That was totally on me. That was totally a dad thing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you for watching. Praying for you all. Thank you. Hey, that's Heather. Heather, how you doing? I can't believe I was thinking about. Okay, so we talked about that generator. And make sure you don't leave your generator with gas in it for a year and a half without starting it, which is exactly what I did. So we spent 2 days trying to figure out how to start the darn thing. And I know a little bit about 2-cycle engines. I know a lot more now than I did. So we had to take it apart, clean out the carburetor with a little sewing needle to get all the gunk out of there. But anyway, I got a plan to make that all right next time for sure. So just a little of the cleanup behind us. Another thing is important is if you have a lot of trees in your area, which most places have some trees, is to have a chainsaw. We immediately put the chainsaw in the truck, and that's something I have actually been good at keeping up on because we've got a property with a lot of trees and we can get locked in. So a chainsaw is really important too. Again, make sure you're keeping up with that, and you have the gas pre-mixed or ready to mix for the chainsaw. Let's see, we talked about food, we talked about water. Communications, I think I touched on this a little bit, but there might be some folks just coming in here to live. So please get at least an AM FM radio. Take the batteries out of it, put it somewhere, put it in your emergency kit. You would be shocked how much that helps in an emergency. Even one better, if you can get a shortwave radio that has AM and FM on it, you'll be able to reach stations that are not in your area. So what happened here is our local radio stations lost power, so they weren't broadcasting. They didn't have any way to broadcast. So with the shortwave, you can reach stations that are states away. Like from North Carolina, we're up here in the mountains, so we can reach New York, we can reach Florida, but anywhere you are, you'll be able to reach a lot further than the AM FM. So shortwave radio, there's one called by C-Crane, C-C-R-A-N-E on Amazon. There's a $79 one and a expensive one. We've had the $79 one for 10 years. We've used it a bunch of times. So get one of those. Don't put the batteries in it when you store it. Keep the batteries out of it. You can also get a ham radio, which is the next step up from the shortwave radio. The ham radio allows you to actually communicate two-way with people. You're supposed to be licensed to use it, and you're supposed to be trained on how to use it before you use it. I am neither of those, but we were able to use it, and I'm not encouraging that. We were able to use it as an information receiver. We could have called out on it if we had an emergency, and most of the operators on there were pretty forgiving. If you were licensed, they didn't care. They're just like, where do you need help? We'll see if we can get it to you. But, you know, the reason I'm telling this story is just make sure you're prepared, because it is scary when something like this happens. There's no help. Like, there's nowhere to call. If you get hurt, you're going to be in big trouble. The other thing that was really helpful for us is we recently installed, thanks to my wife, a gas stove and one of those pretty decent sized propane tanks. So we were well stocked with that. At the very least, get you a grill and a couple of propane tanks, you know, put them in the shed, put them in the garage or whatever. That's a huge help when your power goes out, because you could do anything on that. You could boil water. If you get the grill that has the little attachment that has the flat top on it, that's even better. So those are some tips that we learned, and, you know, that's just been my experience. There's a lot of people who are well more versed on that, and, you know, get a bunch of gas. I think we talked about the gas. Make sure you're recycling it, and make sure it's ethanol free. Another mistake we made. So ethanol is the corn in the gas, and two-cycle engines hate that. It's not good for two-cycle engines. So get ethanol-free gas. I should be using that anyway, but it even stores better. The regular gas, you know, like I was telling the story, I left it in my generator for over a year, and we had to pull that gas out of there. It was like milky. It was crazy. How you doing? I'm recording myself.
I don't want any.
You don't want to be live on YouTube?
No.
You're not.
Not yet.
I'll cover this up for you. There you go. Y'all doing all right?
Our daughter's son-in-law, they got one.
They're over here? They need help right now? You know the church crew's over here, right?
Yeah, they're going up. He's up here in this red roof house. He's up there now working.
Okay.
We're going to take some boxes up there, then I got some other stuff I got to go do, and I'm going to come back there.
All right. Well, we're here.
But, yeah, he's 4 foot one. With houses. So,
That's good. Amen to that.
a friend of ours just called. He's in Swananoa. He's with the fire company in Swananoa. Went to the yesterday. And 2 little kids run up to neck. Said, "You seen the little dad?"
What?
Oh,
2 kids naked ran up to the guy, and have you seen my mom? Over in Swananoa? Swananoa? We're blessed here.
oh my Lord, and it's sad.
There's nothing you can do. I was just telling, I'm actually live on YouTube here talking to some folks, and I was just telling them, like, don't rely on the Calvary. There ain't no Calvary. Like, you got to really come together as a community and do this stuff grassroots, right? Ah, crazy. All right, I'll let y'all go. I'll see you in a minute. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So what you just heard there, I don't know if you heard any of it, but Swananoa is a very low-lying area right on the Swananoa River, which is a major, I don't know if the word tributary is right, but it's a major river that flows into this river. It's 20 miles upstream. That area got completely devastated, you know. I use that word, but I don't know how bad it is compared to this. But I understand it's really bad there. And what he was saying is, there was a couple kids there, didn't have no clothes on. They were looking for their mom or something. So, heard a lot of stories like that. I think most of them are true. Sometimes you hear things during these events that are, handed off to 5 different people, but I'm sure there's stories like that are true out here. So there's some areas like Swannanoa that has been hit real hard, and you can't get in and out of them. That's the key. He's got this helicopter coming right here. Tons of helicopters coming through here, which is really rare for this area. That's don't know what that helicopter's doing, but we've had tons. We've had like the Osprey helicopters in here, actually parachuting goods in, and they might still be doing that in some areas. And so we're blessed here. Our town is pretty wrecked, but we have access in and out, to food and water, and a lot of folks don't. A lot of places still don't. Keep doing these videos. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, I'm really surprised that I'm able to get a signal here. We just did this on Facebook. This is the YouTube version now, but I'm really shocked that I could even get a signal here and that it's live streaming. I mean, it's crazy to me. I've got 3 bars, and I was like, well, if I can go live and get the message out and we can help people. And just so you know, too, I want to give a lot of credit to where I work, which is called Insight Partners, which is owned by well, that's something. Not sure what's going on there, but I have an idea. Let me go over here and see if I can eavesdrop. I'd never seen that before. Samaritan's Purse.
Solar puck lights.
Okay.
They charge in the sun. You can charge your cell phone off of them. You got on power.
Okay.
You give a little light at night.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw all this out in the field right here.
Uh-huh.
Will you guys send somebody to come collect it for your distribution?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Anybody to help me unload?
Are you sure?
No, because then it's hard for us to take off then when there's a bunch of people around.
Okay. So that's something. That's Samaritan's Purse. Is a Christian organization. They have been all over the place. They just landed this helicopter here. To drop off supplies for charging batteries. So Samaritan's Purse just landed this helicopter to drop off devices to charge batteries or to be used as power for lights and for charging cell phones. They just landed this helicopter right here.
What are they doing? Skylink?
I don't know what they're dropping off. What I heard was power supplies, like batteries that could be recharged and used for lights. They may have lights and they may have cell phone chargers. Samaritan's Purse.
Oh, yeah, this thing was not
They've done a tremendous job here of dropping stuff off. So yeah, it's one of these tools. There you go.
Nothing like that.
So again, Samaritan's Purse, all the credit. They just landed this helicopter here and they're dropping off some supplies for local residences, and they've asked us if we could distribute them, which we're glad to do. I think it's incredible they just landed here. We're gonna go in and see what they dropped off here in a minute. So Samaritan's Purse, if you're looking to donate, they have been all over this place. And as you can see, they're not playing around. So somebody asked me what I thought the helicopter was landing for. There's something pretty morbid, which is called a corpse crew or a corpse department or something that comes and looks for bodies. So that's what I thought that was. So if you're just watching, this helicopter just landed here. They're with Samaritan's Purse. They're dropping off food, what looks like, well, they're dropping off water, and they said they have some ways to charge batteries. Or they have batteries that could be used for AC power is the way I understood it, to charge phones and lights and things like that. So if you're just tuning in, that's Samaritan's Purse. They just dropped a shipment off here and they're about to take off. It's getting pretty loud here. Wow, I couldn't have planned that better from showing you what's happening standpoint. Let's see what they dropped off here. So if you didn't just see that, roll this back for a minute and watch this Samaritan's Purse coming in and landing and dropping off all these supplies. So we've got food, snacks, paper goods. Got water. I'm not sure what's in these big sealed packages here. That might be where the batteries are. How y'all doing? That was nuts. But that's, I've heard stories about these drops happening, but I hadn't seen one. This is the first time I saw this happen in action. So if you're just tuning in, Samaritan's Purse, shout out. I'm going to be shouting that out for a while. Just landed a helicopter right here and dropped off all this stuff for the community, for us to distribute to the community. For those with, what happens is those with vehicles are responsible, I was going to say obligated, but not really by any government, but, responsible in the community to distribute goods to those who don't have gas and don't have the availability for it. So, there's food in here, there's water. I believe there's, batteries in there that will run power if you want to charge your phone or run a light. So Samaritan's Purse is the new, go-to organization I'm gonna tell people to donate to. So I'm just reading some comments here if I can. Not wasting any time. Yeah, I love the organizations that are no BS. You give them some cash, they're here. As a matter of fact, they got all the stuff already waiting. They just bring it in here, and then you could donate, and they could refill their coffers. I'm sure that's how that works. Heather says, Insight will be volunteering with Samaritan's Purse starting next week. That's excellent news. Not wasting any time. I think that's Kathy. Sending love from Uruguay. Okay, well, thank you. We'll take it. Hey, man, we'll take it. Got some shelters. I think somebody's asking about shelters. Yes, there are plenty of shelters set up. And that was incredible. That was amazing that we just caught that on live video of that helicopter landing. So, that's, if you're not sure what's going on here, I think that tells the whole story. Like, you got helicopters landing in these fields right by houses. Nobody's complaining about it. They're just landing and dropping off gear for needy folks. So yeah, thank you, Samaritan's Purse. Always on the ground anywhere says, I think it's Blaine, somebody Crawford. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see a darn thing. I could barely see that. But thank you for the messages, sending love. We appreciate you. Can helicopters still help? And I think the answer is yes. We do have in our area in Marshall, I've seen a lot of goods coming in, but some areas do not have that, So the helicopter is the only way in and out, because some of the areas you might have a bridge like this. It's the only way in and out, and they're gone. The bridges are completely gone, or they're covered up with crap. So, but I appreciate everyone who's watching this. We've had a pretty good audience here, and we're really just trying to get the word out, Here's a little, pile of debris, which is very common. You've got a fence in here. You've got a truck, just a truck sitting there, and you got someone's porch, part of somebody's roof. There's a 4x4. Oh, that's a riding lawnmower down there. You can see what just a mess this is. And we were here working on this house earlier, and I noticed I had Wi-Fi, and I noticed I had a cell signal. I was like, man, I'm going to do a live show, and we're, just trying to get the word out here. I think I was saying something over by the river when the helicopter came in, and I was shocked at was, I'm grateful that the company I work for is called Insight Partners, and I'm really grateful they gave us all access to their YouTube channel, our podcasts, our social media channels, to just get the word out. We're an HVAC rep firm. We're owned by a company called Air Control Concepts, and they're all in on this too, and all of our operating companies, that's part of our family. That's a whole nother video, but I just want to give credit to, not a lot of businesses would be all in on trying to support the community like Insight Partners has been, and Hobbs and Air Control Concepts, and all the other operating companies within our umbrella. So it's been really great. Some private helicopters are being turned away, Heather said. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Yeah, we've seen a lot of helicopters here, So Samaritan's Purse, they got a special place in my heart. I'm going to be promoting the heck out of them, but there are other organizations to give to as well. So if you want to give, that's a good one to give to, because you just done saw that in action right here, live on HVAC TV. What do they call that in the news business? Breaking news or exclusive. It was an exclusive. Samaritan's Purse lands on Rollins Road, just west of Marshall, North Carolina, east of Marshall, North Carolina. So that's what you just witnessed there. So that was incredible. I can't wait to pull that video up and watch that. But yeah, so also, I think I've said this a few times, but if you got someone who wants to volunteer and you want to share this video, we'd greatly appreciate it. You know, just to help get the word out. I have had people reach out to me too from other social media channels. Hey, I'm trying to get a hold of somebody. How do I get a hold of them? And I'll give them a number to call for like Madison County or Buncombe or something like that. So if you want a message here, I don't know if I'll have time to check them. Because honestly, I haven't had cell phone coverage this whole time until just this morning when I got here. And I'm like, okay, if I got a couple bars, what I've been doing is just recording videos and reposting them. But if I got a couple of bars, I'm going to do a live because I think that tells the story better. Blessings from Missouri. Kentucky, sorry, excuse me. I think that's David. Thank you, David. Yeah, we've had a ton of people sending prayers, sending food, sending messages. And again, we're on Rollins Road. So this is, you can see the police car. I don't know if you can see them up there, but there's some police cars there. They kind of are trafficking people. They're pretty cool about letting people go through the city, but they're really trying to keep it open because they're trying to clean up. And there's tons of machinery in there. And when you pull cars through there, it really causes a problem because they can't clean up as fast. So they're like, let's close the city down for a half a day and get all this mud out of here. And they've got most of the mud out of there. It's incredible what it looks like today. If we get down there again, we'll do some more videos on it. It's incredible what it looks like today compared to a few days ago. So this whole river, this is the French Broad River. So if you've seen flooding in Western North Carolina, it most likely came from this river or from some tributary or, you know, side river to it. I don't know if my terminology is right, but all this was underwater. You know, these homes were probably a foot or two above the floor, I would say, maybe more. Which is honestly, when I heard we were coming here today, I was like, there's no way there's going to be a house standing here. I mean, with the devastation we saw at downtown Marshall. And just so you know where we're at upstream here, I'm going to say 10 miles, it's probably further, is Asheville, North Carolina. So Asheville, we call our office here the Asheville office because it's the closest big city, but technically we're in Marshall, North Carolina. One of the things we did get hit hard on is our office is completely wiped out. So we have the building still there, but we don't have for... I'm trying to read Heather's comments. Sorry, Heather, I'm totally blind right now. I got to put my glasses on. I don't know why I took them off. I think I was worried about them getting too dirty. Poor me, right? But what was I saying? Yeah, so we did lose our office. We did lose everything in it. We're in the Capitola building in downtown Marshall. So we cleaned all that out yesterday. So anybody's got some office space for lease around the Marshall, North Carolina or Asheville area, let me know, because we definitely need a temporary office space. So, but I'm not worried about that now. Right now, we're trying to get, right now, my personal priorities is making sure my family is safe. This guy just hitting golf balls in the river almost hit me. I better get out of the way. He's a nice fella. He goes to our church. Priority number one, make sure the family's safe. And not only safe physically, but, mentally as well. Because, a lot of this stuff is I've been through a dozen of these being from Florida, like hurricanes and stuff. So to me, it's like, honestly, it's no more than a huge pain in the ass. That's what this is to me because I've been through so many of them. But I didn't lose my home or a family member, so I'm sure I'd have different feelings if that was the case. Anyway, my point is, I'm pretty stable with it mentally, so my purpose is to make sure my family is safe, make sure they're okay and calm, there's not a lot of stress in the home, and then I could branch out, try to help others, and then work is the third thing on the list. Family, neighbors, and then work, which, I'm starting to dip in that a little bit. Had a meeting this morning for 20-30 minutes just to kind of get back into the flow of things, get things moving. But we're going to have to find an office. That's the next big thing, is finding an office space and getting all new stuff for the office and filing the insurance claim. So Billy Smaltz, if you're watching, I sent you an email. I need to know what information you need from me for the insurance claim. So is it just like TV monitor, $800, or what do I need to get you? So, because the National Guard, I got to get my glasses on. I apologize, I can't read these comments. I love to engage and read comments, but I can't see anything because I don't have my glasses on. Maybe I'll try to walk over to my truck, see if I can get them. So we'll try that. So again, Marshall, North Carolina, if you're just watching, go back later and watch this freaking helicopter just landed right there. We didn't know what it was. I thought it was something very morbid, like there's a team that goes around looking for bodies. That's what I thought it was, but it was actually Samaritan's Purse, which is an excellent charitable organization who's really just, you know, and I've seen some of the comments here, like they are just on the spot with this stuff. And I'm gonna go walk this way and get my glasses. So Samaritan's Purse, if you're looking to donate, that's a good one to donate to. How you doing? So, but there's tons of organizations I could say, hello. If you're they gotta come in here, you know, just make sure you're prepared. If you don't like dirt and potential germs, this is probably not the way for you to volunteer. I could just tell you, because I'm walking through some mud here, and this is, let me tell you, this was a foot deep everywhere a few days ago. Like everywhere we were walking had this mud, and it's disgusting, it's slippery, it's dangerous, it's probably, you know, a little bit toxic. And I'm walking over to my truck here. I hope I don't lose the signal here, but get my glasses. And here's another church. There's tons of these small churches which are right on these creeks, and you know, a lot of people build property on the creeks because they're so pretty, you know, and it's nice to hear them, but they're sure not nice when you have a devastating disaster like this. And all right, now I can see. Now you could ask questions if you want. Is flood insurance expensive here? I'm not sure. We have it through our company for our office, so I'm not sure. We personally, our cabin is up the river, up the mountain about 2 miles. So we are well out of any kind of flood. If it floods where we're at, the whole world's coming to an end. So insurance ain't gonna matter because we're 2,000 feet above sea level there. So that's not a problem for us. So I don't know how much. I'm sure if you live on this river, if it's not expensive, it's going to be very expensive, if even possible to get. Watched your video walking through Marshall, then had a Google map to see what used to be there. Heartbreaking. Yeah, it is heartbreaking. It's crazy. And you know, what's funny, because we were riding through Marshall again today, and it's, for some reason today, it hit me real hard, like real emotionally, because it's so overwhelming when you first see it. You're like, I don't think your brain can compute the amount of devastation and the pain it's caused everybody. But yeah, well, we appreciate you watching it. Will this, Nick says, will this live be available to watch full? Yeah, so our YouTube channel, the handle for that is at HVAC-TV, at HVAC-TV. So anytime you go there, we're going to leave, this video will be there. It'll live there forever. So you'll be able to see it and watch it. There's some other videos there we did, the walkthrough. Look at the one for the walkthrough of Marshall, North Carolina. That's a really nice one where we, well, there's nothing nice about it, but it's really detailed, where we just walk through to show all the devastation after the flood. And my son was filming that, so you can see that one. I think that's gotten like 500,000 views on it, which is incredible reach, and I'm glad it's helping get the word out. Cletus McFarland has a great video of him doing helicopter rescue and food drops. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. There is a substitute/replacement for everything in life. Yep, true that. Whiplash dog, I agree. Doesn't take away the pain, but it helps put it in a perspective, that's for sure. And I'm not saying I got pain. I'm truly blessed. Our family's been truly blessed. We haven't experienced anything like these folks back here have experienced around this road. Nick says, I motorcycled through Chimney Rock first. Yeah, it's absolutely breathtaking. It's, yeah. Let's see here. Is there a place with those who live outside the area can send clothing and other necessities? I'm sure there is. I would try and get in touch with Samaritan's Purse, the ones who just landed the helicopter right here and dropped off goods. Maybe they can help, or if someone else on here knows of one. Oh, Heather says Operation Airdrop as well. So check that one out. David said blessings from Kentucky. Dad to Fly says the cell phone companies have gotten together and opened their networks to anyone to use in the area. Yeah, they have opened up their networks. So we have Verizon, which hasn't been working. It's working now. I don't know if I'm on the Verizon network or the AT&T. I know AT&T has, they had coverage up pretty fast. And I don't work for one of the companies, so I'm not promoting either of them, but I'm just saying, and I'm sure that's different in every area you're at. So, Zach says, you're on the ground news for us. We need those updates because we're thinking about you all. Blessings from California. Blessings, Zach. Thank you. That was one incident. Heather Robinson's. Yada, yada, yada. Some private helicopter. I'm just going through these comments. I think I replied to some of them. I'm disturbed by seeing people walking over debris, missing roadways while carrying single items. Places need rope. Yeah. I'll tell you, man, it's tough. It's really hard to imagine how hard it is just to get in the beginning days, just to get food and water was like the best you can do. Someone's starting up their generator here. Get some shelters for the next rains. Yeah, I think we're pretty set on the shelters. Have you seen FEMA anywhere? I have not. That doesn't mean they're not here. I haven't personally seen them. Michael, Carolina. I live in Gaston County. Much prayers and love. Finally got power on yesterday. Thank you so much. Tracy Dutton. My dear friend lives there and can you please tell Tom L. hi for me? Okay. He's lived there for many years. I hope they know mainstream media is not covering this. Yeah, I've assumed so. They're probably moving on to election stuff, but whatever. We're going to get the word out as best we can, and I'm glad my company, Mark Murray, our president, was like, get the word out. This is great. Like, everybody's been super supportive. I had a meeting with Doug Sanders, who's our new CMO. He's like, this is awesome. I'm going to show it to the board, and I'm saying that to say that to give credit to our company, because not a lot of companies would let the Tony Mormino HVAC guy get on here and cover this kind of stuff. So I think it's great that they're letting us do that. And this live tool has been amazing. I think I did a Facebook Live a few months ago, but this is like the first time we've done one, and I just tell you, it's a great way to get the word out if you ever have an emergency. Click your phone on, hit the lives. We've been doing lives on Facebook too, because that's the channel we're used to doing lives on from the cell phone anyway. D. Stu said, oh my gosh, be careful. Let's see. We are supporting Operation Airdrop 2, says Heather. All that is good. Lived in Saluda for a year. Hopeful for those two. Chimney Rock, Hendersonville, Flat Rock, Arden, etc. Prayers. Amen to that. Yeah, I hope we get some sunshine too. Robert Bressimer. News from Big Pine. I lived there in the 80s. Good luck and thanks for the coverage. Hey man, thanks for watching and comment. And thanks for those who are commenting. Even those who are watching, thank you. But for those who are commenting, we appreciate it. It helps us, be able to respond to what people are looking for. And you can see this shipment up here. Let's see if I can get in on that. I got to get my selfie stick. I got it right in my bag here. I'm going to try and hook it up, but can't see it. I'm going to pull up here. But anyway, this is a common looking shipment. The guy's got the big souped up RAV4 on the back of his thing. And so Marshall, North Carolina, again, reporting from Robinson Road. which is a very low-lying area right on the river with about, I'm going to guess, 25, 30 homes. I'm not really sure. But a lot of devastation here. We were here with our church group, cleaning up this this lady's house. Her husband, you know, can't walk. He's 80. She needed help, so all credit to my church for organizing it, and I'm not doing anything but holding this video camera, so I'm trying to get the word out doing this, and this is helping me keep my sanity. So let's see if I can get that truck over there. Can't really see it from here, but anyway, there's a truck of goods there, but that's pretty common to see them coming into the city. The other thing we've seen too is we had the National Guard here for a little bit. I don't think they're here today. They may have moved on to more devastated areas needing security, but we've seen the local police officers doing a great job of policing the area as best they can. I don't think we've had any looting in this area. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I haven't heard of any mass, you know, reports of that. And everybody's just kind of got this community watch kind of thing going here. So we've been, you know, we've been blessed with that. Nick says, making notes for my trip next year to come down and spend money. Hey man, we need it. If the businesses will be back by then, I don't know. I think this is going to be at least a 1 year, if not 2, maybe 3 years for the whole city to get back. And what I'm really afraid of is a lot of the stores in Marshall, North Carolina were, you know, 3rd, 4th generation, and, you know, folks working in there who are in their 80s, you know, and if I'm 80 years old and that happens, I'm probably like, it's time to call it quits, you know. So I hope that some of them come back. I'll certainly understand it if they don't, given the situation, but I think that's pretty common when you have a business like that goes out, that, you know, and it's run by older folks and older generation. The idea of rebuilding, to me anyway, in that scenario would not be very, very fun. So I hope that comes back. Space Wolf says the center community center is open in the Grapevine community and is taking donations, giving out assistance. Our little cove was not hit too hard. Well, that's great. That's great to hear. And if you're anywhere on the water and you didn't get hit that hard, that's really a blessing for sure. Here comes my wife. She's doing all the hard work. Actually, my arm's getting a little tired holding this, honey.
Oh, you want me to hold it for you?
You want to hold it? No, you don't have to hold
I can
it.
hold it.
Actually, why don't you get the selfie stick out of here? You want to do that?
Yeah.
Here. Keep those questions coming. And if you have information to share that could be helpful, because a lot of folks are watching these videos, whether it's in North or South Carolina, please keep the comments coming here. Here.
Here, I'll hold this. You build that.
Now we're getting professional. Take care of my intern. Ah! It's not Nate, it's actually Stephanie.
Me! Hey, wait. I want to be an intern.
I want to be an intern. Yeah, so my son Nate just started as an intern with Insight Partners. Why didn't I grab this earlier? This is like, can you restate where you are? Nick says, yeah, we're in Marshall, North Carolina, which is about 30 minutes north of Asheville. So that's where we are. Small city, about 600 people. See if I can stabilize this a little bit better. So that's where we're located.
Just reading some of the comments.
Yeah. Prayers for Colorado. Thanks for the coverage. Many blessings. Yeah, thank you so much, Pino. Ray got crew from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, heading your way with supplies. All right. Lots of support from the Clarbaugh's Campground and Woody's Home Improvement Prayers. Thank you so much, Ray. This is great. I'm glad I put my glasses on so I could see the comments and acknowledge those and make sure everybody's hearing these. A. Freeman, I grew up a quarter mile from the Redmond Dam. This is the first time I've been able to see the situation on the ground. Yeah, it's been crazy. And I've said this a few times, and I'm not trying to promote our channel, but if you want to see the downtown area, we did a great walkthrough. My son, Nate, who's an intern with us, was the cameraman. I think we did that 2 days ago. And So the dam is down here, and that's where the city of Marshall is. It's literally right around this corner. And that got hit incredibly hard. I mean, it's really sad to see all the old legacy businesses that are going to go. They're probably going to be gone. I just can't see, you know, a lot of the businesses there that have been around for a while. They're not run by young kids, and it's probably going to be a time not to reinvest in that. So, anyway, A. Freeman, thanks for the comment. I'm glad we were able to provide you some context here. If you're just tuning in this, by the way, you go back later. You don't have to go now, but go back later and watch. We had a helicopter land right here in this field to drop off supplies. It was Samaritan's Purse. So I want to give another shout out to Samaritan's Purse for, they're one of these groups that they're ready to roll. They ain't playing around. They get in the helicopter. It ain't like your normal bureaucratic, I'm not going to get into the whole thing here, but, I've worked around governments before, and I know there's a little bit of red tape, but man, they just were ready. They were dropping stuff off. They literally landed right here. They came up and asked us what was needed and said, I got this, and they dropped it off. Space Wolf says, how bad did the old schoolhouse art center get damaged? So, in Marshall, North Carolina, the river goes under a bridge, and then it breaks into two, which forms an island. And on that island, there's a schoolhouse. I believe that's the one you're referring to. If not, let me know. It's a high school, and it's been there I think it's been there since the 80s. I'm not really sure, maybe the 70s. But that has a basement, and I would say a story, at least the first floor was submerged completely. That's the one, yeah. The island is in really bad shape. The whole island was submerged, 15 feet, maybe 20 feet. It was totally insane. We were on the bridge watching it before the water crested over the bridge. There's another helicopter. That's a military style there. Someone will tell us what type that is. I don't know my planes or helicopters from my, what, but where is it? I have a hard time seeing it, but anyway, I don't know if you can see it, but it's over there. It's one of those double helicopter things. That's a technical term. Double helicopter thing. There it is right there. It's a little hard to see on the video, but we've got tons of air support here, for our community. But yeah, the schoolhouse, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm surprised a lot of these buildings, if they don't just get torn down, because there's just so much damage. River running through that building for 2 days, and I know it's been flooded before. That building is no stranger to getting water in it. So, but it has all that nice woodwork in there and the wood floors. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. Chinook helicopter. That's the one with the two blades on it. So that's what you get when you tune in to HVAC TV. You get the best we can do during these tragedies, but it's going to be fine. I mean, I think, one of the lessons, we've learned as a family is you really just got to stay calm. We know a lot of people, though, who stayed in their homes like this couple did here. They were in that house when this happened, and I guess they were standing on chairs. I don't know how they didn't stand in the water the whole time. So, you be real careful with this stuff. I've been through so many hurricanes, and I've never evacuated. And the last one in Jacksonville, I think it was the last one before we moved here, we were literally sitting on the back porch. We lived on the water too, which was a very smart thing to hang out during a hurricane. It was a really nasty one. I can't think of the name of it now. I want to say Francis, but I don't think that was it. No, I don't think so. It was way after Francis. But anyway, so we were sitting on the back porch, and the water was rising like it was to the back porch. It was over our pool, and it was just slowly inching up, and that was terrifying, because once that water gets in your house and you're in there, you're kind of in trouble. So see what's going on over here. But yeah, so these guys are all suiting up. I've kind of dedicated a lot of my time to doing these videos. Hopefully they help, and To be honest with you, I can't lift a whole lot right now because we've been doing this for 4 days and I'm not built for, a shout out to the folks who do this for a living. Any kind of physical job, man. This is not easy. I think it might have been Floyd. I can't remember. But here's another pile of debris. So there's thousands of these up here. So yeah, man, it's just crazy. But the community has been pulling together. I give a shout out for living in small communities. Like, I don't have any idea how this would be in a big city, but everybody here has really pulled together. You've got guys like Star, the muscle over here. We're on YouTube if she wants to get some more info. Interesting side note, Marshall is in the Guinness Book of World Records as, quote unquote, the town that can never be expanded because of the new building moratorium that came about in the 50s. Interesting. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I actually know very little about the history, but I'm going to learn that as we go on. Ingalls has reopened on 70 in Marshall, in the new Marshall area. So Ingalls has reopened. I think you can go in there at least. My wife was in there a week ago, and you could go in there 10 at a time. Not a week ago. She was in there a few days ago. You go in there 10 at a time, but there was no limit on what you could get, but you did have to pay cash. So I'm not sure if they have been resupplied or not, but there wasn't a lot of stuff in there a few days ago. Or the H-21 workhorse. So that's another helicopter reference. Thank you. It's because of the history of flooding. Oh, that's why the moratorium is there. So interesting. Yeah, it just got awfully hot all of a sudden. Wearing all this gear doesn't help that scenario. But again, poor me, right? I didn't lose anything like all these people did. So I'm going to walk down here. We got a little traffic jam. I'm going to get out of the way. Yeah, so the city's going to pick up all the wood debris. They've got dump trucks. That's a flatbed right there, but they got dump trucks everywhere, and machines to put the debris in the dump trucks, whatever they call them. I don't know what those are called, either front loaders or whatever. I call them grabbers. You got to be careful walking through downtown because they'll run you over. But yeah, I mean, this is, honestly, that's kind of, in my experience, and not to minimize it, that's kind of the easy stuff, the debris like this, getting rid of that. It's the water damage that really is just devastating because, you got homes like this, which is, it's soaking wet. The floor, the walls. If it's, the landfill. As a matter of fact, someone mentioned the island earlier in Marshall, where the schoolhouse is. That's been designated as the dump area for the mud, for the sand. And I think it's a good spot for that because it can seep the water out of it back into the river. But then they're going to have to move that at some point. But yeah, the landfills here. I mean, we've got one landfill in Marshall. The trash has been one major thing too. We actually started a burn barrel because there's nowhere to bring the trash. I think there is now. I think they have a dumpster back open. We don't have trash service at our cabin, but I think they have trash service now open where you could bring your garbage. We had a barrel my wife bought for a burn barrel just in case, and we fired that thing up. That was actually kind of a lot of fun. I've done that before, but and we talked about being prepared earlier, but if you're new on here on this, watching this call, please, do what you can to get your home prepared a little bit. And you'd be surprised how a bin of things, a plastic bin of things with a label emergency on it will be helpful in an emergency, just like batteries. And I'm really shocked at how few people have access to a radio today. And I don't know, you can't even go find one in a store. Like, who sells radio? Like, my advice earlier was, if you're going to get a radio, get a shortwave radio. And I'll tell you about why that's important, because shortwave radios, even though they're called shortwave, gives you access to transmissions that are far away. Amazon has good items, yes. The one that we have is called C-Crane, C-C-R-A-N-E. And I think there's 2 models on Amazon. One of them's the $80 model. One of them's like $180. Get the $80 one. Well, you can get the $180 one if you want, but we have the $80 one, and it's helped. We've used that 10 times. So what happens in these kind of situations is your local radio station, your FM stations, they might not have power. And that's what happened here. I was like, why aren't we getting any broadcasts from Asheville? I had no idea they ran out of power because we didn't have any communications. So we didn't know what the heck was going on. So we switched it to shortwave. Well, shortwave you could pick up in other areas. You get what I'm saying? So from here, we could pick up into New York. We could pick up to, hey, Nick, we could probably get you one of these hats. If Kirk Patton's watching, we'll hook you up with an Insight Controls hat. But yeah, so the shortwave radio allows you to pick up transmissions from all over the country. We can go as far as New York and down to Florida from North Carolina. So again, if your local area is decimated and all you have is AM, FM, you might not be able to get any news. So get a shortwave radio. That's my tip number one after going through a few of these type deals. You also can get, and the next step up for that is a ham radio, which is a radio that you can actually communicate with people. So the good thing about that is if you have an emergency, you can actually talk to people on a ham radio. It's two-way. Now that does not work off like normal two-way radios like CB and stuff like that. The old days CB, you had to be like close to a line of sight, but short ham radios have what's called repeaters. So someone might grab your transmission and repeat it to the next mountain, the next state, etc. So you can get very long distances from your ham radio. Now you're supposed to be licensed to use a ham radio, and it helps to be trained. I am neither of those, but we were able to turn it on and at least have the comfort of knowing we have access to somebody if we need it. We never needed it, thank God, but there was tons of chatter on there about, hey, this gas station's open. That's the other thing about it I really love. It's minute by minute reporting of, okay, the Waffle House over here, I heard a lot of Waffle Houses were open. The gas station on 70 and Pine Road is open, etc. Excuse me. So the ham radio is great in that respect, and those things are small and they're not insanely expensive. I can't remember what we paid for the ham radio, but it is smart to be trained on that. I was not trained on it, but again, they don't care. When you're using an emergency, they're not gonna, the guys who are running it, you're supposed to be licensed to use it, but they didn't seem to care. They were extremely accommodating. A lot of them were staying up 24 hours to run it. So, yeah, the shortwave radio is great. Nick was saying he didn't know about that. So I actually texted that to a buddy of mine and said, bro, you got to get one of these. He's like, I just ordered it from Amazon because it's small, it's compact, it's easy. By the way, if you're storing electronics long term, so I think the bandwidth is getting pretty low here. I'm going to kill this feed. Thank you so much for watching. Please share it with someone who might be interested. Please like it. We greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for everyone who supported our local community and everywhere in the Carolinas. God bless you. Thanks.